This is at the beginning of the walking track that heads up the gorge, and as you can see here, the creek follows the escarpment right the way. This has to be one of the most amazing Aboriginal painting sites I've ever had the privilege of visiting, because of the diversity of paintings they've used here, including the different types of hunting and ceremonial boomerangs that were used in trade and communications with their neighbours. And then as we come further along the site, we get into the representation of human vulvas and emu tracks and possibly emu egg marks. So it's a absolutely incredible sight, and one that I suspect, by the size of the hands and the fact that there's such a concentration on the human vulva, that what we're seeing here is a site that was made accessible to only the young men when they were initiated. I suspect that this site was taboo for women. I have no proof of one way or the other, but certainly the impact on me when I come to this site is one of incredulity mixed with this overpowering sense of intruding. This is the Cathedral cave, a massive site of obvious, very culturally significant to the local Aboriginal people. This is Big Ben, the end of the trail. King ferns, Angelotera evecta, and they're very special because they are very primitive. They have the biggest fronds of any fern in the world, and they are remnants from when Australia was part of Gondwana 65 million years ago. And they don't have any internal structure, they retain their shape simply by water pressure. On our way out of Carnarvon National Park, one of the things about driving around out in this Queensland countryside is periodically you'll run across a bunch of wildlife, and what we've got here is some emus that, if we can get out here in the grass. We're just crossing the Comet River, coming into the little village of Rolleston, and we'll stop here for a cup of coffee and get a couple of tyres repaired, I hope. Here we are, turning onto the Dawson Highway from Rolleston to head to Springsure. I couldn't get any tyres. Getting out into the more grassland, open plain country with sparse woodland. We're just heading off the road to an historical site called the Staircase Range. No idea what it is, but let's go and have a look. Staircase Range cutting. You can see the background over there where the Chinese labourers built the old road cutting through here in the early 1900s. We're just coming into Springsure, and as you can see, again this same sort of sedimentary ranges, and it's always been a spectacular view to come into Springsure because of the way it's tucked in against the base of this. Springsure has always struck me as quite a pretty little town, and as I said, it's tucked away in the midst of these ranges, and it's always been well maintained with the Rainworth Fort and the old wagon memorials and other bits and pieces. That this is the end of the little range that I was mentioning. It's always been so special in my visits to Springsure. We'll now head for Longreach. Just coming into the small town of Emerald, and this is another agricultural centre, as well as the gem fields, and Fairburn Dam, which is near here, obviously allows quite a lot of irrigation and good guaranteed water. Downtown Emerald, a thriving little metropolis. Excellent museum on the left there, Heritage Centre, part of the old railway station, and we're on our way to Anarchy and Barcaldine. And this town, the local council here, for some reason, loves traffic lights rather than traffic islands, roundabouts, which would be so much simpler. So we've spent half our time in Emerald stopped at traffic lights. We're just coming off the escarpment just to the south of Emerald, on our way into Barcaldine. We really are in the heart of gemfield country. You can go going to the Sapphire, Ruby Vale, Anarchy. All of them have got very good sapphire and similar stones for fossicking. Some more of this beautiful rolling countryside as we head further west. We're heading into an area that floods irregularly, so it's worth knowing when these roads are open or not, so keep your knowledge up. And I think this is some of that brigalow country, so prominent in this part of Queensland, and of course massive tracts of it cleared for agriculture. I know well from temperate to tropical Australia there's great red grass on the side. This is on the way to Anarchy. Here we are crossing the Alpha Creek on our way into the Alpha Village. Quite a nice little spot. Must be a few rainbow lorikeets around here because that was the emblem on the caravan park. Nicely kept town. This is what a lot of passengers that travel with me get distressed about, is the fact that we'll be hammering along the road at 100 and whatever kilometres an hour, when suddenly on come the brakes and around we do a U-turn. And the reason for this U-turn was this poor flattened echidna, which I'll photograph and get off the road. We've just crossed the ridge line where the waters run into the Cooper Creek catchment, which then lead off down right to Lake Eyre. It's the little village of Jericho. Where you can get fuel, tyres and toilets. After a good night's camping at the Alice River, we're on our way to Barcaldine and then Longreach. So beautiful morning. hopefully a good day's travel. I don't know if you can see the carrion eaters up to the left in the screen and lifting off the road in front of us. Roadkill on each side of the road, primarily black kites and a couple of wedge-tailed eagles. Here we are entering Barcaldine, obviously one of the more famous towns of Australia. In the Tree of Knowledge is in the main, and we'll have a bit more of a look in a minute. Just coming into the main drag of Barcaldine and the Tree of Knowledge. Started the Australian Labor Party and Australian Labour movement in 1891 due to the protests by shearers of protruding shearing blades. Very important monument to Australia's political and labour and general working history. Important part of travelling in this part of the world is having knowledge of what the road conditions are, and it indicates here caution between Barcaldine, where we are now, and Longreach, and so it's a case of take it steady and keep a good eye out. Here's one of the bits we've got to be cautious about. Slow down and detour and go slow. Only crows on this bit of roadkill. We're just coming into Longreach, and this of course is a town of reasonable size, major centre. It's got the House of Opals, it's got the Stockman's Hall of Fame, it's got the Qantas Museum, where they've got a 747. The Stockman Hall of Fame is off to our left, but you can see the Qantas Museum there with a Boeing 747. They've got an old DC-3 and various other aircraft. Quite an interesting facility, and well worth a visit when you come to Longreach. Quite a picturesque, and as we come into the water tower on the left, and we're going to head off to the RACQ's preferred provider, because the rear brakes have sort of collapsed a bit, and better get them fixed before we go much further. This is the main street of Birdsville, Eagle Street. I called it Birdsville when in fact it's Longreach. Pretty close really, I suppose. Nice little coffee shops and whatever happening on a Sunday.